Hiya friends, welcome to the very first episode of North Pole TV. I'm Mike Doran, your host. I'm also the writer, the editor, the cameraman, the director, and the CEO. Thank God for YouTube because I don't know how people did it in the old days. The purpose of North Pole TV is to provide public opinion polls about current events in the news on a wide range of topics so that we can gain a better understanding of how the average man or woman in the street feels about whatever the topic might be, because that's not something we get from the mainstream media very often. This episode will be asking Canadians how they feel about U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump and how they feel about American leftists, and I'm assuming most of them would be leftists, wanting to move to Canada in the event that Trump gets elected. Many U.S. celebrities, as you probably heard, have publicly stated that they will leave the States and move here if it happens. Many other ordinary Americans have said the same thing. And personally, it's not something that I'm comfortable with because it would be just one side of the political spectrum moving here. And if it was just a broad, like sampling of all left and right, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But I don't want all those whiny, sore loser leftists moving here. Anyway, Toronto is a very liberal city, so I was expecting pretty negative results. But I was pleasantly surprised with what I got. So give the video a watch, you might be surprised too. But whether your politics lean left or right, it doesn't matter. Just thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. The first question is, Donald Trump a racist? Do you believe that's valid and true, or do you think it's overblown a bit?
I think he's made some quite extreme remarks. Whether it classes him as a racist, you have to decide.
Okay. Question number two is the comparisons to Hitler. Do you feel that's justified?
Some of the questions that have been given to him in the context, you can draw some comparisons, yes.
Okay. And question number three is, well, I guess this doesn't apply to you so much, but there's been a lot of Americans have inquired about moving to Canada in the event that Trump is elected president. And I'm wondering I was going to ask Canadians how they feel about that. As a Brit, you're welcome to give your input.
If it's anything like the migration issues that we've got in our country at the moment, then you might have some issues. Mass migration is something that's a lot of Europeans are worried about at the moment. What's going on in Syria.
But I imagine you were talking about the Syrian refugees. Yeah, I'm specifically talking about anti-Trump people moving up here.
It's hard to comment.
Okay, yeah. First question is, Donald Trump a racist? Do you believe that's true, or do you have questions about that?
No, I don't believe that's true.
Okay, question number two is, I think I know your answer, the comparisons to Hitler, are they justified, or is that overblown? Silly, okay. And question number three is, as a Canadian, I'm assuming you're a Canadian citizen, there's been a lot of inquiries from American citizens who want to move to Canada in the event that Trump wins the election. How do you feel about that, and what would you say to them?
Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Stay home, fix your own house.
There you go. Thank you, sir.
Have a good show.
You too. How do you feel about that?
I have doubts about that because he is such a great businessman, so I think he's faking it to be popular.
I think you're probably right. Okay, second question is the charges of him being compared to Hitler. How do you feel about that? Is that justified?
It's dangerous even to be him being compared to Hitler. Even the comparison is dangerous enough.
I think so too. Third question is, you're Canadian, I assume?
Almost.
Oh, okay.
I'm a PR for now.
Okay, I don't know what that means, but you're applying, I guess that means.
Mm-hmm.
How do they feel about that, and what they would say to those people?
Well, I guess welcome.
Welcome, yeah?
Yes.
I think he's race baiting.
Okay, fair enough. Second question is the comparisons of Trump to Hitler. How do you feel about that? Is that justified?
Justified.
Valid, justified?
I think that Hitler appealed to people's base instincts, and so did Donald Trump. It has yet to be seen whether or not. I just don't think that anybody's Hitler.
And I'm asking Canadians how they feel about that.
I don't know enough about immigration history and policies to know. I mean, I have American family. My sister immigrated to the States. I don't know, if people want to move here, how many people we generally accept. I don't.
Yeah, neither do I. I'm just sort of trying to get people's feelings about.
Yeah, I doubt. I think people like to talk and say that they would move to Canada, but I don't think they actually will.
Because of Donald Trump being a racist, do you believe that to be true?
True or false? I don't. I haven't been watching it a lot, but I'm still trying to figure it out whether he's or not. I
Fair
don't
enough.
know.
Fair enough. So the second question would be the comparisons to Hitler. Do you think that's a justified and valid comparison?
And Hitler. Who?
Oh,
compared-
the left, the Democrats. There's a lot of things on the internet comparing Donald Trump.
Oh,
to,
I wouldn't say. I wouldn't go that far.
You wouldn't go that far.
I would
Okay.
not go that far.
All right, that's good to hear. And the third question is: there's a lot of Americans are making inquiries as to moving to Canada in the event that Donald Trump wins the election, and I'm wondering how Canadians feel about that.
I think they need to fix their own country and vote the right person in.
I think you got a good point there. Thank you, sir, and have a great
Sure.
day.
Okay then.
Take care.
Okay, bye.
Feel about that.
I don't believe Donald Trump is a racist, honestly. I have followed Donald's career for a long time, and I'm surprised at some of the things he's saying, but I kind of think it's sort of like a show. I don't really believe that's the real person, because Donald had been a person who has stood by the underdog and stood up when other people just wanted to run. You know, I could think of lots of celebrities, black, white, and even Hispanic. So I don't think he's racist.
Fair enough. Second question is the comparisons of Donald Trump to Hitler, which maybe you've heard about on the internet and in the news and stuff. Do you feel that's justified?
Well, I think the only comparison is the fact that Hitler had a way of galvanizing people, and Trump galvanized a lot of people too. Some people think that the galvanization comes from, the motivation of hate. And while some people may feel hateful about certain things, I think deep inside they're just ready for change. And people are jumping on a bandwagon for change. It's not necessarily that they like the nuances of what he's saying,
Right.
but they just want change.
Boy, I couldn't agree more. I think that's why Bernie Sanders is popular as well, because people they're fed up with the traditional career politicians that promise one thing and do another. And so people are just fed up. That's why Trump and Sanders are both popular. Just my opinion there. Third question is, a lot of Americans have made inquiries to Canada about moving to Canada in the event that Trump wins the election. And I'm wondering how you feel about that and what you might say to those people.
Well, first of all, I like to travel to the States. And when I travel, I can't wait after 2 weeks to reach back home.
I know how you feel, yeah.
Because
The charges of him being racist, are you 100% behind that? Do you have doubts about it, or how do you feel about it?
He is.
He is, okay. Second question is, when people say he is, I want to ask cite one specific thing he said that made you think he is.
Muslims must go.
Okay. And second question is, the charges of him being compared to Hitler, how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
You think that's justified and valid? Okay. Third question is, there's a lot of Americans making inquiries about moving to Canada in the event that Trump wins the election. How do you feel about that? What would you say to those people?
Go for it.
Okay.
I want to move anyway. Coming here, I don't care.
Yeah. You want to move out of Canada? Convinced, or you have questions about that?
I'm 100% convinced that
You are.
he is.
On to question number 2 is the comparisons to Hitler. Do you feel that's justified and valid?
Well, in a remote way, because when you are a demagogue and you talk about all the things that could hurt you, which is fear and
What they would say to those people?
yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, they just feel that they're living in a world that supports Trump, and therefore his becoming a possible president or a nominee, or even the fact that he's this strong in the polls, makes them just want to escape and go to a place that's inclusive and friendly and loving and a lot more reasonable and not driven by fear. And
They would. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that if our government was to say yes, come on in, to all those people, they would all be one side of the political spectrum. It it would not be a general sort of sampling of left and right. It would be all left. And so myself, you know, do you believe that to be true, or do you have questions about it?
I definitely endorse it.
Okay.
Excuse me.
And the comparisons of Donald Trump to Hitler, how do you feel about that?
Well, I can't say that because I don't know how Hitler really behaved in that thing. But well, for the current situation, he's closest to Hitler. Yes.
Okay. And third question is, there's a lot of Americans who are asking about moving to Canada in the event that Donald Trump does get elected president. As a Canadian, how do you feel about that?
Well, I can't say that like they are free to do whatever they think is right.
Being racist, are you 100% in agreement with that, or do you have some questions still?
Some questions.
Still some questions?
Yeah.
Okay. And the charges or the comparisons of him to Hitler, do you feel that's justified and valid, or how do you feel about that?
I don't know enough about it.
No. Okay. And there's a lot of Americans inquiring about moving to Canada in the event that Trump wins the election. How do you feel about that, and what would you say to those Americans?
I don't know. I feel like the same thing was said when Bush was going for re-election as well.
Or do you have questions about it still, or how do you feel?
I haven't really thought about it, to be quite honest with you.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. He's been compared to Hitler. I don't know if you heard that. The left is comparing him to Hitler. So I'm asking people how they feel about that, if that's a justified comparison.
I don't think so.
Okay. And the third question is, there's a lot of Americans making inquiries about moving to Canada in the event that Trump gets elected. How do you feel about that? Would you have anything to say to those Americans?
I think that Canada is always welcome for new people coming to Canada, regardless of what time of year and the reasons behind it.
Okay. Question is, the charges of Donald Trump being a racist, are you 100% in agreement with that, or do you have
Not really, man. I think some people say he was a racist, but I don't think so.
Yeah, you don't really,
I don't really see that way.
Yeah, he said some things that are on the edge, but they're not really racist, okay? We'll agree on that?
Yes.
Okay. Second question is, a lot of people are comparing Donald Trump to Hitler. Do you think that's justified and valid, or is that...
Not really. Hitler is really different people, man.
Yeah.
I would say Hitler has his own vision about invading countries and stuff like that. Donald Trump is a businessman. It's really like, it's not even close, man.
That's right. Hitler invaded other countries, right?
Yes.
Donald Trump has said, don't go into Iraq, and yet the government went into Iraq. He said, don't go into Syria, and they go into Syria.
Yes.
He's not about doing that. So that's fair enough. Third question is, there's a lot of Americans asking, can I move to Canada if Donald Trump wins the election? How do you feel about that, and what would you say to those Americans?
Well, if they want to live here, it's a great place to live, right? It's a great city, country, everything is, I would say, the best for me.
I agree.
Well, about the president, if most of the people choose to be the president, right? They agree what he's gonna do that's better for the country.
Majority rules, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So even it's 10%, we'll say, oh, I'm gonna move to other country because Donald Trump, he's winning. Doesn't affect anything.
Yeah. Myself, I don't think it's a good enough reason to let them in.
Yes.
And if you did let them all in, they're all on one side. They're all left wingers.
Yes.
There'd be no right wingers. So to me, it wouldn't be a fair thing. It's just kind of a fun question because I don't know if it's really going to happen. But they are saying, apparently a lot of Americans are Googling how to immigrate to Canada, and I just think it's funny. So I just want to get people's opinions.
What's going to happen if someone win again, and they're all going to leave Canada?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Once Trump is gone, then they go, okay, I want to go back.
Right.
The whole thing's silly. Listen, thank you for your time, and have
problem,
yourself a
sir.
wonderful day.
You too.
Take care.